For dinner tonight, I am making beef enchiladas. By no means is this a traditional or authentic recipe. It is not. It's just a quicker and easier version of it, but I know my family loves it. Here I have an onion that I'm going to dice and a couple of garlic cloves that I'm going to mince. So I will be using store-bought canned enchiladas. I'm pretty much using everything that I have in the house, but I could never picture myself pouring cold enchilada sauce into a baking dish, even though it's going straight in the oven. So I'm going to pour it into a pot and just keep it in the warmer while I kind of finish prepping dinner. I'm also going to be sauteing some zucchini, red bell pepper, and corn. Again, I'm just using whatever I have in the house for dinner tonight. For the cheese, I'm using Colby Jack, sharp cheddar, and mozzarella. Again, not a traditional way of making it, but that's all the cheese that I have in the fridge. Here I have 2 pounds of ground beef. I'm just going to cook this until it is no longer pink, breaking it up as I go. This is probably more than what I need for our beef enchiladas tonight. I'm just going to save the leftovers to use for a different recipe. And now I'm just going to remove some of the fat from the skillet. I know there are different ways of doing this, the paper towel method, but I just prefer the old school way. You just tilt your skillet and then you're just going to scoop it up and pour it into a bowl. Once the beef is no longer pink, we're going to add some onion and garlic. And now we're just going to combine and cook it for about 4 to 5 minutes. And now we're just going to add our seasoning. Here I have salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, smoked paprika, cumin, chili powder, and dried oregano. I'm also going to add a little bit of tomato bouillon and a little bit of beef bouillon. Give this a stir to combine, and we're just going to cook this for another 2 minutes or so. All right, and now we're just going to turn the heat off and add our enchilada sauce. It's really up to you how much enchilada sauce you want to put in here. I'm just going to start with about a cup. I'm just gonna add maybe another 1/4 cup or so. And now we're just going to add our cheese. Now my 9-year-old, he does not like too much cheese in his food except for pizza and mac and cheese. So I'm just going to be very careful here. We're gonna start with maybe about a cup. All right, and now we're just going to give this a stir. You can of course add as much cheese as you like. I'm just going to give this a taste to see if I need to adjust my seasoning. That is perfect. Here I've got my baking dish. And now I'm just going to add a little bit of the enchilada sauce to the bottom of my baking dish. Here I've got some warm flour tortillas. Now I think this tastes better using corn tortillas, but my kids prefer flour tortillas, so that's what I'll be using today. And now I'm just going to add about 2 tablespoons of the meat mixture into the tortillas. And here's where you can add the amount of cheese that you like. Now we're just going to roll it and place it seam side down in the baking dish. And now we're just going to repeat with the rest of the tortillas. All right, so the last 2 is going to be for my 9-year-old, so I'm just going to add just a little bit of cheese. So now what I like to do is add a little bit of the ground beef right on top. Not too much, just a little bit. Now add a little bit of the enchilada sauce right on top. Top with some more cheese. And now we're going to bake this in the oven at 375 for about 15 minutes until the cheese has melted. In the meantime, we're gonna get started on our veggies. I'm gonna add a little bit of olive oil into a skillet. Add some onion, the bell pepper. Now add the zucchini and the corn. I almost forgot my minced garlic. Let's just add that there. And now we're just going to add a little bit of seasoning. I use the same seasoning as the ground beef. After about 5 minutes, it's done. Now I prefer my zucchini with a little bit of bite to it. I don't like them too soft. If you like yours soft, just cook them a little longer. The beef enchiladas are done. Look how amazing that looks. So you're supposed to wait and let this cool off for a few minutes, but I'm starving and I'm ready to eat. Oh my goodness. So I like mine with a little bit of crema. Oh my God. Some diced onion. And now I'm just going to put the veggies to the side. And I also like a lot of hot sauce right on top. Okay, this is very hot, but I don't care. I'm hungry. Dinner tonight, I'm making Jamaican-inspired curry shrimp. Here I have 2 pounds of shrimp. They're pretty small, about 30-40 count shrimp per pound. And now I'm just going to season it. First, I'm going to add some lemon juice, a couple of teaspoons of Jamaican curry, a little bit of turmeric to give it a deeper yellow color, garlic powder, onion powder, a little bit of salt, some black pepper, minced garlic, some fresh thyme. Now my family loves curry and we make it pretty often, whether it's Indian curry, Thai curry, Indonesian curry, or Caribbean curry. It's actually one of the first meals that I gave my kids when they were young. They had their first curry when they were about 6 months old and they still love it to this day. Alright, so here I have some bell peppers, red, green, yellow, orange, and an onion, and I'm just going to cut them into strips. Now, I've been making this Jamaican curry shrimp for years. I know that there are so many different ways of making this. Mine obviously may not be truly authentic. Some recipes call for green seasoning, but one thing's for sure, there are always bell peppers, onion, garlic, and thyme in the recipes, and of course scotch bonnet peppers. But as you can see, I'm going to skip the scotch bonnet peppers because that's going to be way too spicy for my kids. And I also want to quickly mention that there are different spicy levels to curry powders, whether it's Asian curry powders or Caribbean curry powders. I always use the mild ones because I wanted to keep it safe for my kids. I don't want it to be too spicy for them, but we can always add a little bit more spiciness by using hot pepper sauce or cayenne pepper or things like that on our plates. And actually my 10-year-old, he's starting to have a taste for spicy food, and he always adds like sriracha or things like that into his plate. Into a skillet, we're going to add a little bit of oil. And now we're just going to add our curry powder, about 1 tablespoon. And now we're just going to cook this for 20 seconds. This method is called burning the curry, but you're not actually going to burn the curry. Now add your bell pepper, onion. We're going to cook this for about 4 minutes. After about 4 minutes, we're going to add our garlic, not ginger, garlic, fresh thyme, a little bit of salt, a little bit of onion powder, garlic powder, turmeric, black pepper, and just a little bit more curry. And I give this a stir, and I'm going to add a little bit of chicken broth. Give that a stir. Make sure you scrape off the bits from the bottom of the skillet. This is a super quick, less than 30 minutes dinner. I've already got my rice cooking in the back. And now we're going to add a little bit of coconut milk. Give this a stir. Next, we're going to carefully add our shrimp. Now this shrimp is pretty small. I'm not going to cook it any more than 5 minutes. Alright, it's been about 5 minutes. This shrimp is done, and now I'm just going to cut off the heat and give it a sample. Oh my god, delicious. Alright guys, the curry is done, the rice is done. I told you guys this is going to be a quick and simple dinner, and now we're ready to plate everything. Alright, we're gonna start with our rice, and now the shrimp, and some bell peppers. I'm making a mess over here. I like a lot of broth in mine. I'm gonna put that broth all over the rice. A little bit more shrimp. No, I just really like parsley in this. And this is where I like to add my hot pepper sauce. Put it right on top. Now here's the best part. Let's give this a taste. It's so delicious, and that hot pepper sauce. For dinner tonight, I am making chicken lo mein. Here I have 2 boneless, skinless chicken breasts, and I'm just cutting them into small strips like this. And now I'm just going to transfer the sliced chicken breast into a bowl. I'm going to add a couple of teaspoons of soy sauce, a little bit of Jiaojing wine or Chinese cooking wine, a little bit of garlic powder, onion powder, and white pepper. And just a couple of teaspoons of cornstarch. Now we're just going to give this a quick toss. And now we're just going to set this to the side while we prep our other ingredients. First, we're going to prep our noodles. This is what I'm going to be using. Obviously, this is not lo mein. However, it's the only one I have in my pantry. You can find lo mein noodles available now in most grocery stores, and if you can't find any, feel free to use spaghetti. I've used it before. You know, it's all about using whatever you have on hand. It's going to take about 5 to 6 minutes for the noodles to cook. In the meantime, I'm just going to prep our veggies. Here I've got some sliced onion and sliced red bell pepper. This was actually leftover from yesterday. I knew that I was going to make chicken lo mein today, so I just saved some. We also have some carrots, some celery, garlic, and green onion. Here I'm just going to cut the carrots thinly. Same thing with the celery, I'm just going to cut it thinly. I'm going to cut the green onion into 2-inch pieces, separating the green and the white parts. Last but not least, I'm just going to mince the garlic. For the sauce, you're going to need equal parts soy sauce and oyster sauce, a little bit of dark soy sauce, pinch of sugar, a little bit of white pepper, cornstarch, and just a splash of chicken broth. Now give this a whisk. And now we are ready to cook everything. One thing about stir frying is you want to make sure you have everything right next to you. We're going to add a little bit of oil into our hot wok and add our chicken. You're only going to cook the chicken for about 3 to 4 minutes, and then you're going to transfer the chicken into a plate. Add a little bit more oil. Add our onion, carrot, and celery. After a few minutes, we're going to add our bell peppers, our garlic, and green onion. Now add our noodles and the chicken back into the wok along with the sauce and give it a toss. And now we're just going to turn the heat off and drizzle a little bit of sesame oil and give it one last good toss. One thing about lo mein is that I cannot eat it without chili oil, so I'm just going to add that right on top. Let's give this a try. I love a quick and easy stir-fry dinner. I'm making chicken VESUVIO for dinner tonight. Here I have 8 thighs bone-in skin on. I've already trimmed some of the excess skin, and now I'm just going to season them with a little bit of salt and pepper. Into a skillet, I'm going to add some chopped bacon. Now normally bacon isn't used in chicken VESUVIO, but I really want my chicken thighs and the potatoes to be cooked in bacon drippings to give it a nice smoky flavor. Now the bacon is nice and crispy, and I'm just going to remove this into a bowl. And look at all that bacon fat rendering, and we're going to cook our chicken and our potatoes in. I'm going to do this in 2 batches because I don't want to overcrowd the pan. And also you want to make sure that you don't move it, you don't touch it, you don't flip it. Don't check to see if the chicken has browned. We're just going to leave it alone for 4 minutes. And now we're ready to flip them. Ooh, look how nice and beautiful that is. And I'll transfer the chicken onto a baking sheet. And I'll cook the other batch. And I'll transfer to a baking sheet. And now we're going to add our potatoes. We're also going to do these potatoes in batches and cook them for about 1 to 2 minutes on each side. Now we're ready to flip these potatoes. Look at that. Now transfer the potatoes into the same skillet as the chicken. Alright, into the now empty skillet, we're going to add some diced shallot. Make sure you scrape all the little bits from the bottom of the skillet. Add some minced garlic, a little lemon zest. Normally this is where you want to add your white wine, but since I'm cooking for my kids, I'm going to skip the wine. And now I'm just going to give this a little lemon juice. And let this cook for a few minutes. And now we're just going to add a little bit of garlic powder, onion powder, oregano, basil, and thyme. A little salt and pepper, of course. And now we're going to slowly add some chicken broth. Once this comes to a boil, we're going to add some peas. Give it a stir. And we're gonna turn this heat off. This probably would have been much easier if you pour the sauce first and then the potatoes and chicken. I'll do that next time. And now I'm just going to add the sauce into the baking dish. You want to make sure that you don't pour directly on top of the chicken because we want to make sure the skin stay crispy. So it's easy if you just get a ladle or a spoon and just add the sauce on the edge. We are ready to bake this in the oven at 425 for about 30 minutes or until the internal temperature reaches 165 degrees Fahrenheit. All right guys, it is done and now we are ready to plate. Let's give this a try. I've got a little bit of chicken and potato. I love chicken and potato dish and I need to make this more often. For dinner tonight, I am making something super simple, just pasta with smoked turkey sausages. I was actually supposed to use the type of sausages that you can remove from the casings, but this is all that I have and I'm just gonna go ahead and use it. I've already got the pasta cooking in the back. I'm going to be using rigatoni pasta, but you can use whatever pasta that you prefer. And all the ingredients that I have is probably something that you may already have in your pantry. So something super quick, super simple. And for our veggies tonight, I'm going to be making asparagus. I'm just going to add a little bit of olive oil, salt, pepper, and some minced garlic. Into a skillet, we're going to add a little bit of oil, a pat of butter, and now we're going to add our turkey sausages. And we're just going to cook this for about 2 to 3 minutes on each side. These sausages are done and now I'm just going to transfer them into a bowl. Now into the same skillet, we're going to add a little bit of diced onion. And now I'm going to add some minced garlic, a little tiny pinch of chili flakes, a little bit of dry thyme, and oregano. Now just give this a quick stir and cook for about a minute. And now we're just going to add a couple of tablespoons of tomato paste. Now cook this for about 4 to 5 minutes. And now we're just going to deglaze the pan with some chicken broth. And we're just going to let this simmer until the liquid has mostly evaporated. And I'm just going to add 1 can of diced tomatoes, a little bit of heavy cream, pinch of salt, black pepper, tiny pinch of sugar, garlic powder, onion powder, and just a little bit of chili powder. Gonna give this a stir. And now we're just going to add our sausages back into the skillet, add the pasta, and a little bit of Parmesan. Now we're just going to give it a stir. All right, and now we are ready to eat. I'm just going to add some into my plate. And you know, I've got to add a little bit of chili flakes on mine, a little bit of parsley, and of course, some extra Parmesan. Almost forgot about the asparagus. Here, I'm just going to add it right here on the side. I want everything to be on the same plate. Let's give this a try. This one, super simple, super delicious. And that's it. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I will see you next time. Bye.